Rise of the Dragon is a point-and-click adventure game released by Dynamics for the Sega CD in 1990 and is a port of the original PC version of the game, but with added voice acting and CD quality music tracks for the Sega CD.
Hey, little friend. You got a good time for me?
The game takes place in a future version of Los Angeles in the year 2053, and it's an understatement to say that Rise of the Dragon is very Blade Runner-y in its presentation. Hell, even the main character's name is Blade. The storyline in Rise of the Dragon centers around William Blade Hunter, a private detective who's hired to unravel the mystery behind the violent, drug-related death of the mayor's daughter, Chandra. The gameplay in Rise of the Dragon on the Sega CD consists primarily of pointing and clicking, as well as choosing the right dialogue options at the right time in order to advance the storyline. If you've ever played any of Sierra's old school classic PC titles, you'll feel right at home here. The city itself is pretty big, and you have the ability to visit any of the locations in it by heading to the train station and clicking on your destination. It's more like an illusion of freedom though, since you won't really be able to do anything in most of the locations unless you're at a certain point in the storyline that will trigger an event in whatever location you decide to head to.
Yeah? What you want him for? You look mighty uptown.
One of my biggest issues in Rise of the Dragon is how unbelievably easy it is to completely dick yourself out of finishing the game. If you choose the wrong bit of dialogue at the wrong time, you can screw yourself out of necessary dialogue from one of the key characters in the game, and therefore be unable to finish it.
Oh, you therefore just stupid. I ain't serving the likes of you.
Luckily, you can save the game at any time by opening up your inventory screen and saving to the system memory. Just make sure you do it often, since one wrong move can end up making you start the whole game over again if you didn't.
You always were a charmer.
There's a lot of trial and error going on in Rise of the Dragon. I tried for a couple days to get through this one on my own, and I just couldn't make it happen without eventually looking at a guide online. There are just so many little things that you have to do to progress farther in the game that make little to no logical sense whatsoever. I mean, I consider my gaming instincts to be pretty sharp for the most part, but even I ended up confused at what to do next during the majority of the game. The whole game also runs on a time limit, and every now and then you'll get what I call the meanwhile scenes to let you know what's going on from the bad guy's point of view.
I am Bahamut!
One of the weirder features in the game are the couple of arcade sequences that you'll run into. There are two of them that end up being 2D action platforming sections, and even one that works kind of like a light gun shooter. It's a shame that the 2D sections are so incredibly sloppy in how they're put together, otherwise they could have been a really cool diversion. These two sections actually end up being two of the more frustrating parts of the game, and will eventually have you looking forward to getting back to the pointing and clicking. There are also a few puzzles to figure out on your way to solving the case, and one slip can send you straight to the game over screen. The wiretapping section can be especially aggravating, and if done incorrectly, can instantly kill you.
Thanks a lot for standing me up last night, you jerk.
The graphics in Rise of the Dragon are pretty cool to look at, though overall they don't look near as clean and colorful as the original PC version of the game. Everything looks kind of green and gray, and you can definitely tell that the Sega CD's limited color palette struggles to accentuate a lot of the background details.
What the hell are you talking about? 5,000 years he's waited.
And that's not to say that the game is ugly, it's not. I'm actually a big fan of the hand-drawn art style of the game, despite its dreariness as far as the colors go. There are even a few sections in the game with some pseudo full-motion video here and there, like when checking the messages on the various video phones throughout the game.
Hey, beautiful. You ready to hit the town?
Also, there are some events that animate to an extent, and these add some life to the normally still images of the game world. The sound and music in Rise of the Dragon is actually quite impressive and makes good use of the Sega CD's audio capabilities. The whole game was voiced from scratch, and the actors for the most part do a pretty good job and are fairly believable. Sure, there are some purposely cheesy moments here and there, but pretty much all of it sounds great.
Need a good used hover car? Momar's Cars has the answer for you.
The new CD audio music is also pretty good and fits the dark mood of the game well. It's nothing that'll end up on a Best of Sega CD compilation one day, but it does do its job. There really isn't much to talk about when it comes to the controls in Rise of the Dragon. It uses a pretty basic 3-button setup on the Genesis controller.
Hello there, handsome.
The D-pad itself is used to move the pointer around, and the A button is used to open and close your inventory screen. B and C are used to confirm or back out of selections, and also to jump and shoot in the 2D sections later in the game.
Karen, what have those bastards done to you?
Please help me, Blade!
To sum up, Rise of the Dragon on the Sega CD is a pretty cool futuristic point-and-click mystery title, complete with memorable characters, good voice work, a sense of humor, and a challenging difficulty. It tries valiantly to mix up the gameplay by adding in the 2D and gun-shooting elements, though neither element is honestly done very well. The world itself in Rise of the Dragon feels very much alive and is a neat place to visit, and it won't end up costing you much cash to give this one a go. It's one of the cheaper Sega CD games out there, and I believe I got my complete copy of the game for around $4 shipped from eBay. If you're in the mood to try your hand at some detective work, you can definitely do a lot worse than Rise of the Dragon. As always, guys, thanks for watching and subscribing. Until next time, stay classic.